Hello, my name is Douglas Bloch. Welcome to the Depression Recovery Channel, where each week we talk about practical tools and coping strategies for healing from depression and anxiety. Today is Flashback Friday, a feature in which I republish one of my earlier videos you might not have seen that contains really important coping strategies that will help you attain a better mood. Now here's today's video. The title of today's video is, Will I Ever Feel Normal Again? But before we go on, we have to tell our wonderful joke. Thank you to people who are making comments and saying you've enjoyed these little puns. So here's one that Jerry and I really like. What did the mother worm say to her daughter when the daughter came home late? Where on earth have you been? All right, well, as I said, the title of today's video is Will I Ever Be Normal Again? And that came from one of you YouTube listeners. I guess viewers is a better way to put it. I do live chats every Sunday at noon Pacific time. I love doing them. They become a part of my weekly ritual. And we have a wonderful group of virtual fans, and you can join anytime you want by coming to my channel at noon on Sundays. Anyway, I was watching the chat thread go, and one woman who'd been really suffering from depression a long time said, will I ever feel normal again? And I thought to myself, well, that's a very important question to ask. Will I ever be normal again? How many of you have asked yourself this question? I certainly have, many times. I remember during one of my depressive breakdowns, I was sitting on the curb outside of a store. My wife Joan was doing some shopping, and I thought to myself, wow, I have really fallen so far. I'm a shadow of my former self. Will I ever get back to baseline? Will I ever be normal again? Well, before I answer that question, I want to look at the word normal, what it means. Well, it normally means to be like everybody else, right? But most people, or many people in America, being normal means eating at McDonald's. Well, we certainly don't want to do that. So maybe a better question to ask is, instead of will I ever be normal, will I ever be back to my unique, precious self? And this reminds me of a really well-known quote by the great poet E.E. Cummings, in which he said, the hardest challenge is to be yourself in a world where everyone is trying to make you be somebody else. So the question we need to ask is whether we have depression, bipolar, OCD, schizophrenia, ADHD, no matter what, PTSD, will I ever be able to get back to my old unique self again? That's what we're looking to do. Based on my experience and the experience of others, the answer is yes. You can return to your prior self. You can experience a semblance of joy. But how can this be, you may ask? I mean, when you're really, really depressed, recovery seems as far as a distant galaxy. Well, the answer comes from a man named Andrew Weil. Some of you may have heard of him. He's a very well-known doctor. I actually met him in Eugene when I was 25, a really good guy. And he wrote a book in the 90s called Spontaneous Healing, which is what really put him on the map. And in this book, he said the following, which I never really forgot. He says, the body can heal itself. It can do so because it has a healing system. At every level of biological organization, from DNA up, mechanisms of self-diagnosis, self-repair, and regeneration exist in us. Medicine that takes advantage of this innate healing is more effective than medicine that simply suppresses symptoms. So for example, if you were cut your hand, as I often do when I'm paper cuts, they're really painful, aren't they? But if you just put a Band-Aid on it and do not a whole lot else, the body heals its own cut. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to make it happen. You don't have to chant any affirmations. You don't have to pray about it. The body does it itself. Well, guess what? The brain can also heal itself too. And there's a word for this that scientists have come up with. It's called neuroplasticity. I want to tell you that neuroplasticity is your best friend. It is because as a result of it, the brain does something called neurogenesis. It grows new nerve cells. When I was growing up, pre-med, I was told you have a certain amount of nerve cells when you're born, and as you age, they die, and they get less. But now we find out that for every cell lost, the brain can produce new ones. It does so because there's a certain protein in your brain cells, and I have to read it because it's a little bit of a tongue twister. It's called BDNF, Brain-Derived Neurotropic Factor. You'll see it on your screen. And what BDNF does is it serves as a miracle grow. Put a little miracle grow on your flowers, they go psh, put it on your brain, and then suddenly brain cells grow, they flourish, and most importantly, they reproduce. So, if neurogenesis is so great, is there anything we could do to stimulate it or make it, happen more? Well, we can't really pour fertilizer on our head, can we? But we can do something that has been proven scientifically to grow new brain cells, and it is called exercise, or specifically aerobic exercise. Anything that gets you up to 70% of your heart rate. The steady flow of blood to your brain that exercise produces helps to stimulate the growth of new cells. It also brings oxygen to your brain too, right? So what is that? Running, my friend Jerry, biking, me, dancing, swimming, I don't know what, frisbee playing, anything that gets you running around and breaking a sweat. And that's because, as I said, that exercise goes ahead and develops and stimulates neurogenesis. So in 2015, 5 years ago, thank God, when I was in this terrible depression and still making these videos, I did not give up bike riding. I had to do that at least once or twice a week. Otherwise, I don't think I could have made it. But the riding my bike produced the new brain cells that allowed me to hold on until I got better. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to heal itself and to grow new cells, is why I tell people what goes down must come up. You see, your body and your nervous system are hardwired to recover and to get better. So have faith. If you're feeling really bad right now, know that your biology is in your favor. If you just hold on and do some simple things, you are going to get better. Now, neuroplasticity has other advantages to it besides healing people from depression. When I was growing up, again, way back when in the 60s, they told me that when you grow older, you have what's called cognitive decline. You sort of lose your memory, your ability to focus, your mental sharpness, and eventually you become demented. Nonsense. Don't let anybody ever tell you that. Because of this neurogenesis of this neoplasticity, I find with my friends who are in their 70s and 80s who are staying active, who are connecting with other people, who are being engaged, that they're just as sharp now as they were 20 years ago. And I guess I'll put myself in that category too. And there are many examples. When I was younger, my mother, who could have been a better mother, did one wonderful thing for me. She took me to a pianist in Long Island who happened to be there, named Arturo Rubinstein. He was about 89 years old, and he was giving a concert. And really a wonderful concert. My mother said, you see, Doug, you see him? If you're creative like that, you can stay productive into the later years of your life. Sure enough, if you look at somebody like Frank Lloyd Wright, the great architect, he had his most productive period in his 80s. And the great cellist from Spain, Pablo Casals, he performed before the United Nations at the age of 95. So these and many other people have inspired me to think that as I grow older, I can even get better. And I hope they inspire you also. Again, you will get better. You can get better. You will return to your previous self. Don't give up 5 minutes before the miracle. This has been Douglas Bloch. I hope you found the information on this Flashback Friday video helpful. If so, please give it a like, as likes draw more and more people to this channel and hopefully some more subscribers. You can also leave your comments in the comments section or email me, douglasbloch@gmail.com. If you do want to subscribe to this channel, click on my photo in the closing credits. You'll be taken to my subscribe page. And if you click on the bell to the right, you'll be notified every time I do a new video or live chat. And if you want to contribute to this channel and become a patron, simply click on the Patreon image. You'll be taken to my crowdfunding site. And until next video, I wish you the best in your mental health recovery. Thank you so much.